My twin brother Jace died in a hiking accident. At least, that's what the news said. What the police report said. What the funeral program said. But I didn't believe it. Not for a second. I stood there in my black suit, rain tapping on the tent above the grave, watching them lower a casket that didn't feel real. Jace wasn't supposed to be in a box. He was the kind of guy who'd walk into a funeral late, unbutton his shirt, crack a joke about the weather, and somehow make everyone laugh through the tears. Loud. Reckless. Full of life. But now, he was the one being buried. Or so they wanted me to think. The preacher was talking, something about peace and rest, but I wasn't hearing a word. My wife, Lila, stood a few feet away, arms crossed, not even pretending to cry. We hadn't lived together in 2 months. Not since I found the hotel receipt in her coat pocket. The Grand View. Room 312. Check out, 10 a.m. I didn't confront her right away. I waited. Watched. And then I saw the texts. Miss you already. Can't wait for next week. You're the only one who gets me. Don't worry about Drew. He's too wrapped up in work to notice. And then a photo. Her in a red dress, laughing, leaning into a guy I'd never seen before, her boss, Mark. Smiling like they'd been together for years. I didn't scream. Didn't throw anything. I just packed a bag, took my dog, and moved into a friend's basement. No drama. Just done. Now, standing at Jace's funeral, I couldn't even look at her. She wasn't mourning. She was monitoring. I could feel it. My parents were a few rows up, stiff, blank faces, like they were at a zoning meeting, not burying their son. Not a single tear. Just silence. My mom kept adjusting her gloves. My dad stared straight ahead, jaw tight, like he was waiting for the whole thing to be over. It didn't feel right. Then, just as they started lowering the casket, my phone buzzed in my coat. I shouldn't have looked. But I did. Text from Jace's number. I'm not dead. That's not me in the casket. My blood froze. I looked around, half expecting to see him leaning against a tree, grinning. But nothing. Just the wind in the wet leaves. Finger shaking, I typed back. Jace, where are you? Long pause. Then. Can't say. They're listening. Don't trust Lila. Don't trust Mom and Dad. I just stood there, staring at the screen. Jace was alive. But why fake his death? And why warn me about Lila? About our parents? That night, I didn't go home. I stayed at a motel. Lila called. I didn't answer. And deep in my gut, a terrible truth started to grow. Whoever was in that casket, it wasn't my brother. And the people I trusted most? Maybe they were the ones who put him there. Next morning, I drove to Jace's place. He'd lived alone for 3 years in a tiny apartment above a hardware store. Used to be messy, clothes everywhere, half-eaten pizza, his old boots by the door. But now? Spotless. Like someone had wiped him out. No photos. No toothbrush. Fridge had 1 bottle of water and a jar of olives. Jace hated olives. This wasn't grief. This was erasure. I knew Jace. He was paranoid after that mess with his old job 2 years back. Always said, leave a second trail. Never show your first layer. So I searched. Under the bed. Behind the vent. Nothing. Then I remembered the fake outlet behind his dresser, our childhood hideout. I pried it open. Dust poured out. And inside, a black burner phone, wrapped in plastic and duct tape. Still had power. I unlocked it with his old password, SKYFALA9. 3 contacts, Kira Vance Ghost. 1 video file. I hit play. Grainy footage. Woods. Jace on screen, breathing hard, glancing over his shoulder. If you're watching this, I either got away, or I didn't make it. But if there's a funeral, and a body, that's not me. It's a setup. His voice was low. Desperate. The people behind it? They're close. Closer than you think. I found something I wasn't supposed to. Now they're trying to shut it down. Start with Lila. And if you've got the guts, ask Dad about Black Pine. Then he looked straight at the camera. Don't trust anyone. Especially not Mom. Screen went black. I stood there, Phone in hand, heart slamming. Mom, Lila, Dad, all at the funeral. Crying, hugging, talking about letting go. And now Jace was telling me one of them might have helped fake his death. Or worse. And Lila, he'd named her first. I thought it was just about the affair. But now? I wasn't so sure. I dropped onto his mattress. 1,000 questions. But one screamed louder. What happened on that hike? And why did Jace think our whole family was in on it? I waited until Sunday. Dad always grilled burgers. Rain or shine. Even after burying his son, there he was, beer in hand, flipping patties like nothing happened. Hungry? He asked. No, I said. He didn't push. Just nodded. That was Dad. Emotionally armored. You could tell him the world was ending, and he'd ask if you wanted ketchup. I sat down. No small talk. Then, what happened at Black Pine? His hand froze. He set the tongs down slow. Turned and looked me dead in the eye. Where'd you hear that name? Jace. He said not to trust anyone. Said to start with you. Said it all connects back there. He didn't speak for a long time. Just stared into the grill. Then, Black Pine was a research facility. Military adjacent. Privately funded. What kind of program? He glanced toward the house. Mom was watching. Enhancement, he said, voice low. Cognitive and physical upgrades. Memory trials. Neural acceleration. Stuff that doesn't officially exist. I blinked. Wait, you're saying Jace was experimented on? He volunteered. And it worked. He was one of the only ones it worked on. But after the program ended, some people wanted to keep using him. Called it asset retention. He called it being hunted. I stared. Jesus. Dad leaned in. He disappeared for a reason. Faking his death might have been the only way out. But if he reached out to you, someone slipped. He looked me in the eye. If you dig, they'll come for you too. I didn't move. So what do I do? You disappear, he said flat. Burn that phone. Wipe your records. Get a new name. Then he looked up, eyes colder than I'd ever seen. Or, you finish what he started. I left without a word. That night, I replayed Jace's video. His last words, asked Dad about Black Pine. He didn't want me to hide. He wanted me to find the truth. So I made a choice. I wasn't running. I was going to follow the trail. But first, I had to see Lila. Lila lived 2 towns over, in a quiet neighborhood with dog walkers and porch swings. The kind of place where secrets don't belong. I rang her doorbell at 8:14 p.m. She opened it a crack. Saw me. Eyes widened. You look like him, she whispered. Not him, I said. It's me. Drew. She hesitated, then let me in. The house smelled like vanilla and paper. Journals everywhere. Sticky notes on the walls. Felt like she was either writing a book or solving a case. She didn't offer coffee. Didn't sit. Just looked me in the eye. Jace is alive, isn't he? I didn't answer. I didn't have to. She whispered. I told him he'd never be able to stay dead. Lila, I said. Tell me what you know about Black Pine. About the program. About why he ran. She took a breath, went to a locked drawer, pulled out a thick file. Water-stained. Labeled, Stillwater, Unsanctioned Trials. Handed it to me. I wasn't just his girlfriend, she said. I was his handler. Assigned to monitor his progress. At first, clinical. But over time, I saw what it was doing to him. Migraines. Blackouts. Night terrors. She looked at me. Jace was their success story. But they broke something inside him to make it work. I flipped through the file. Names. Dosage charts. Emotional logs. Photos of Jace strapped to a table. My stomach turned. He got out, she said, voice shaking. But he didn't run away. He ran with something. A drive. Full of data. Video logs. Blueprints. If the public saw it, Black Pine would be finished. So would everyone involved. She looked me dead in the eye. Your parents included. I sat down hard. The floor tilted. My parents? She nodded. Your mom wasn't just a nurse. She was a lead clinician. Your dad handled logistics. They kept it quiet. But Jace found out. That's why he told you not to trust them. I swallowed. Where is he now? She hesitated, pulled out a second phone, tapped a few buttons. Showed me a map. A red pin blinked deep in the woods. I haven't talked to him in months. But if he's reaching out again, he needs help. She looked at me. And if you go after him, Drew, be ready to make a choice. Because once you cross into that world, there's no coming back. I turned to leave. Then paused. What about my Lila? Why did Jace warn me about her? Lila's face darkened. She wasn't just sleeping with her boss, Drew. She was assigned to you. Her whole job? To monitor your emotional state. To report any instability. To keep you distracted. The affair? That wasn't personal. It was protocol. I felt like I'd been punched. She didn't fall for him. Lila continued. She was trained to create emotional chaos. To destabilize you. To make sure you never looked too close at Jace's disappearance. They knew you two were close. Knew you'd dig. So they put someone inside your life, someone you trust, to keep you off balance. I remembered the little things. How she'd change the subject when I brought up Jace. How she'd say, "You're obsessing, Drew. Let it go." How she'd cry when I questioned her, make me feel like I was the one being unfair. It wasn't guilt. It was control. And I'd walked right into it. So she never loved me? I asked, voice cracking. Lila looked at me with pity. I don't know. Maybe part of her did. But her loyalty? That was to the program. I left without another word. That night, I sat in my car, rain on the windshield, and finally let myself feel it. The betrayal wasn't just about sex. It was about everything. My marriage. My trust. My grief. My love. All of it manipulated, engineered, used. And now I knew I wasn't just fighting for Jace. I was fighting for the truth of my own life. The road ended 2 miles before the pin. After that, just forest. No trails. No signs. I parked behind a rusted gate, slung my backpack over my shoulder, and started walking. Every step on dry leaves sounded too loud. The deeper I went, the quieter everything got. No birds. No wind. Just silence. An hour later, I found it. A small shack, half covered in moss. Looked abandoned. But I knew better. I stepped forward. Jace? Nothing. Jace, it's true. I got your message. I know about Lila. I know about everything. Silence. Then, creak. The door opened a crack. And there he was. Thinner. Beard wild. Eyes sharp, haunted. But it was him. My brother. He didn't speak. Just stared, like he was deciding if I was real. Finally. You shouldn't have come. I stepped forward. They lied, Jace. About everything. I know about the program. About our parents. About my Lila. He nodded. Then you know why I had to disappear. I looked at him. Then why now? Why reach out? He opened the door wider. Behind him, a battered metal box sat on a table. I've been collecting proof. Data. Names. I was waiting until I had enough to bring it all down. His voice dropped. But something changed. What? They found me. My heart stopped. What do you mean? Then snap. A twig. Jace grabbed my arm, yanked me inside. They followed you, he whispered. They were watching. Outside movement. Dark shapes between trees. No footsteps. Just silence. He pulled up a floorboard, handed me a worn pistol. We've got 2 choices, he said. Go out the back and run, or stay and fight. He looked me in the eye. Either way, they won't let us both live. Before I could answer, a voice rang out. Jace Vale. Drew Vale. We don't want to hurt you. Just come out, with the drive. My blood went cold. They knew my name. They weren't just after Jace. They wanted both of us. The silence after that voice was worse than any scream. Calm. Almost friendly. That's what made it terrifying. Jace shoved the flash drive into my jacket. If I don't make it, you keep that safe. It's got everything. Another voice. Last warning. 60 seconds. I looked at him. How many? 3. Maybe 4. One used to be Dad's security. Ex-Special Forces. I swallowed. We're gonna outrun them? Jace smirked. We don't have to outrun them. We just have to surprise them. He kicked open the back door. Gunfire. 2 silenced pops. Bullets tore through the wall. We sprinted into the trees. Boots pounded behind us. Jace pointed left. Old Ranger Tower. Height gives us the edge. We climbed. Halfway up, a voice hissed. You think hiding changes anything, Jace? You think your brother's ready to know the truth? We didn't stop. At the top, Jace pulled a signal booster from his pack. Plugged in the drive. Hit a button. What are you doing? I asked. Uploading everything. Encrypted. Mirrored. Once it's done, it'll be everywhere. I looked at him. What's in the files? He turned, eyes dark. You remember that scholarship Dad said I won in high school? I nodded. It wasn't real. It was a recruitment. Our parents volunteered us for a military program when we were kids. Not just you and me. Dozens of twins. My legs went weak. They used us as case studies. Testing how far loyalty could be weaponized. What breaks first, blood, love, or truth? He looked at me. I found footage, Drew. Experiments. Manipulation. Blackmail. Some of them didn't survive. Our childhood. The missing months. The boarding school trip. It wasn't school. It was testing. And our parents? They weren't victims. They were architects. Bang. The tower jolted. A bullet ricocheted off metal. They're climbing, I shouted. Jace tossed me his second pistol. Time to earn that GED in survival. We held them off just long enough. The upload hit 100%. Jace smiled. Too late, he muttered. A voice cursed from below. He got the drive up. Then silence. Footsteps retreating. They weren't scared. They were pulling back because the war had just gone public. By the time we got down, the forest was dead quiet. Jace moved like a soldier now. No jokes. No hesitation. Just focus. They won't come after us here, he said. Not tonight. They'll wait to see what leaks. And it did leak. By morning, the files were everywhere. Project Stillwater, twin behavioral experiment. Names. Videos. Funding. Hundreds of files. Some redacted. But enough names slipped through. Including our parents. And Lila. She hadn't just been my wife. She'd been a psych evaluator. Monitoring me. Manipulating my emotions. Using the affair to destabilize me, keep me distracted. She was never just my wife. She was my handler. My phone rang. It was her. I let it go to voicemail. Then I listened. Drew, please. I had no choice. They had something on my father. He was sick. Please call me back. I didn't call back. I was too busy watching the world explode. CNN, Fox, WikiLeaks, senators demanding answers. But the evidence? Solid. And at the center of it all, 2 names trending. Jace and Drew Vale. We weren't ghosts anymore. We were proof. 3 days later, I stood outside my childhood home. Same porch. Same rusted mailbox. But it didn't feel like home. Jace stayed back. This is your call, he said. But be ready. They'll say anything to keep control. I rang the bell. Mom answered. Her smile twitched. Then she saw my eyes. You saw it all, she whispered. Yes, I said. Everything. Dad stepped up behind her. We did what we had to. You were chosen, Drew. You should be grateful. Grateful? I spat. You fed your sons into a psychological meat grinder. You killed one of us. At least you tried, Jay said, stepping into view. Mom gasped. Dad stepped back. You faked a body, Jay said coldly. Forged death certificates. Told the world I was gone. You were unstable. Mom cried. You threatened the whole program. No, I said. He threatened your position. Your legacy. Your illusion of control. Silence. Then Dad. So what now? You expose us? I pulled out a court summons. Federal subpoena? I said. You'll be testifying. His face went pale. Mom collapsed into a chair. Jace and I turned and walked away. This time, together. 6 months later, everything changed. We were backstage at a primetime interview. One of the few we agreed to do. Jace and I sat in a quiet green room. The world knew our names now. But they still didn't know us. You ready? I asked, tugging my collar. He looked in the mirror. I died once, he said softly. This is just resurrection. The camera light blinked. 3, 2, 1, and we were live. The interviewer asked, why come forward? Why now? Jace leaned forward. Because the truth doesn't stay buried forever. You can fake a death, manipulate a mind, erase a history, but not the truth. Not forever. I nodded. And because too many people are still trapped in silence. Our story? It's just one thread in a much bigger web. We told everything. Project Stillwater was shut down. Officials resigned. Indicted. Our parents pleaded guilty. Stripped of credentials. Sentenced. Public disgrace followed them. Lila filed for divorce. I didn't fight it. Last I heard, she changed her name and vanished. As for Ellie, my daughter, I sent her a letter. Told her the truth. She wrote back in 3 lines. I don't know what's real anymore. But I believe you. I just wish I had sooner. 1 year later. Jace lives in the mountains now. Quiet cabin. No noise. We talk every week. Real conversations. No secrets. I started a foundation. Helps whistleblowers, deprograms victims, supports people thrown away by systems like the one we were in. Sometimes I pass a mirror and don't recognize the man looking back. But then I remember. That man survived. He didn't just crawl out of the grave they shoved him into. He built something better on top of it. Not for revenge. For truth. And truth? It always finds a way back from the dead.